Well, good morning. And it is July the 4th, American Independence Day. Shades of Tom Paine, who helped get them to the independent state. Today, it's UK voting day. And the strange rules that we have in broadcasting means that it is a minefield if we talk about any of the parties or the issues and so on. So we'll actually pretend that it's not going to happen, except to urge you, no matter which way you are going to vote. It's one of the precious things that we have in a democracy, our right to a ballot. It's important that we all use it. And those people that don't have no right to moan. To be quite honest with you, they have no right to criticize, but there is no legal bar to that. And that's one of the beauties of the freedom of a democratic country and a democratic process. So protect that at all costs by casting your ballot today. Very important. Very important. Let's start off as we usually do. Today, 19 degrees, sunny intervals, and a fresh breeze. Let's see. No rain at all today. Wonderful. A sunny spell right now, and that looks right. The sky is mostly blue. A bit of clouds throughout the morning. 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, cloudless sky. Then I'm afraid mixed cloud and sun for the rest of the day. Tomorrow, Friday, oh dear. A drop in temperature for one thing. Only by a degree, but it'll only be 18 tomorrow. 18 on Saturday and 17 on Sunday. So, in fact, the temperature is heading in a downward curve at the moment. Rain tomorrow, mixed cloud and sunshine on Saturday, and rain again on Sunday. So, not a very bright prospect on this election day in the UK. I'm afraid we just have to put up with what we've got. This is not a great deal. Now, John Henty will be along at 10 o'clock. Brighten our day. His impish approach to everything. And his recalling of the heyday of live entertainment on the stage, keeping us enthralled. Well done, John. And I'm glad that we get him here. Now, we normally go through the headlines the front pages in the papers. But today we're going to avoid that. But we will take a look at some of the things that are non-political that are on the pages, and immediately I'm going to go to one that is political, but since it is overseas, it doesn't matter. And according to the Times, Joe Biden, the American president, is considering an exit, and that comes from a senior Democrat. President Biden is weighing up whether to stay in the race to win a second term, according to an ally who spoke to him as 2 polls gave Donald Trump his biggest lead over the incumbent yet. Trump was 6 points ahead, up from 2 in February, in a poll by the Wall Street Journal that had him leading by 48 to 42%. It found that 80% of Americans believe Biden, 81, is too old to be president again. Don't think they think he's too old. I think they think that he's, whatever age he is he's incapable of being a leader at the moment. Right. Now, other things that are on the front page of the Times. Ozempic sight loss. A Harvard study has found that people taking weight loss jabs, such as Ozempic, are more likely to develop a condition that can cause blindness in one eye. So there you are. If you're trying to lose weight by taking Ozempic, be very careful. It may end up with you having a stick, much the same as me, tapping yourself around. Sad story. Sir Tom family has been banned. Captain Sir Tom Moore's daughter and son-in-law have been disqualified from being charity trustees following misconduct and mismanagement. That is, Captain Tom, who walked up and down his garden 50,000 times or whatever, raised huge amounts to charity, even when he was a non-Nigerian. Royals have been honoured. The King installed the Queen and his brother, the Duke of Edinburgh, into the highest order of Scottish chivalry in recognition of their charitable work in Scotland. NATO funding. A group of NATO countries bordering Russia are to begin a diplomatic push to raise the alliance's national military spending targets to at least 3% of GDP. Now, in all the uproar, surrounding the election, the question of Russia has raised its head. But this story is interesting in as much as President Putin did actually warn the West that if they wanted to maintain an uneasy peace, they must not install NATO or NATO troops in countries bordering the Russian Federation. And here we can see that that is not the case. And that's nominally at least why he's upset about everything. I say nominally because I'm not suggesting for one moment that Putin may not have become belligerent anyway. But certainly a few years ago, he made that deal. And until his invasion of Ukraine, he kept the deal. So in the news is the fact that some of these countries are trying to raise more money so they can have more NATO troops, etc., etc. Ratcliffe pulls the plug. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has shelved plans for his Ineos automotive business to build an electric vehicle, citing low consumer demand and a lack of clarity over net zero action, I suppose. And defensive dilemma. Gareth Southgate may Gareth Southgate may switch England's formation, for the Euro 2024 quarterfinals with the Swiss after practicing with a three-man defence in training. Now, if you're a soccer fan, then that's important. If you're not, you wonder what the hell they're talking about. Let's see. Narrative art has been discovered in Indonesia. Is at least 50,000 years old. So Ian McKellen is on the mend after falling off the stage. And a little note, the height of thrift, a coffin made of scaffolding boards. As a chap who knew more or less that he was going to die from emphysema instructed his son to check if we can make a coffin out of scaffolding boards. I suppose they got some scaffolding boards around. There's of course, then there's bans of political stuff. The papers are allowed to print it. There's a picture. Competitors at the Henley Royal Regatta have braved the Thames despite recent tests, finding levels of E. coli that would be considered poor by official bathing water standards. Thames Water disputed the Henley and Marlow River Action Group's results. Not so, they've said. Anyway, the athletes have said we'll risk it. Let's take a look a bit at the sports because we're not doing too badly. Sir Mark Cavendish has won his stage in the Tour de France, the iconic cycle race in France, and he set a record. He's won stages more often than any other rider. We have remarkable success in the Tour de France in cycling. and until they actually go past the winning post and throw bottles of champagne in the air, it rarely gets a mention. Let's see, Raducanu, which is the hopeful lady at Wimbledon. She says that she'll team up with Murray as part of his Wimbledon farewell, with the 3 times Grand Slam champion also playing in the men's doubles alongside his brother Jamie. Well, there we are. We all wanted to know that. And Raducanu hit top form, apparently, beating Elise Mertens of Belgium 6-1, 6-2. Oh-ho. That's a bit about the footballers' presentation. Now here's where we get the wokes manage to invade sport. Turkey won their match on yesterday, I guess. They beat Austria, who were much fancied, and one of their heroes, it says Turkey hero faces a ban for a wolf salute, and there is this vague committee somewhere at the back that decided that if players are naughty, we'll stop them from playing. I mean, how daft can you be when you're trying hard to promote a big tournament? Because they did the same thing to Jude, our man Jude, and how the hell do I know that the gestures are rude or political or whatever? I don't, and the only reason that I now know about one in Turkey is because it's been drawn to my attention by the people who want to punish the man who made it. Silly bits and pieces. There's a big spread about the British team getting ready for their showdown with Switzerland on Saturday. Manchester United are going to lay off nearly a quarter of its workforce. Well, let's see. Wow, that's about 300 people. That's about 300 people. All sorts of records are being scored in the cricket. England ladies convincingly beat New Zealand. We're talking cricket again. Really great news, even in the sporting pages. It's all a bit quiet. Perhaps that's the way we should keep it. Yeah, so is our news hour isn't much of a news hour today. And I don't know, I think we've got to be very careful what we play from our video files. But I think there's one file, if it's here, that we could play without fear or favour. And again, perhaps not. Well, let's very, very difficult. Very difficult today. You might just have to look at me. Oh gosh. No, you say. No. Well, let's take a look in the history books in our archive to the first hour of Mirador, way back about 4 years ago. I wonder what we were talking about.
We filmed the next break an egg in the church with the old man. I'm very happy to report the church is still standing, even after he's been in there.
She's been trying to get me to the altar for ages. And the reason that we came here, twofold. First of all, it has got a beautiful piano, and I have to give her her due. She is a beautiful pianist. But secondly, it is a very ancient church, and every time she looks at me, that makes her giggle, doesn't it?
Is this your favourite place?
Ancient and modern. You think you're modern, aren't you?
Of course.
Right. Well, there is another reason as well, because you have great love of Pelham House.
Indeed.
And there is Sir Nicholas Pelham's helmet.
And I believe there's also one in Pelham House.
There may well be. The real one, this is a facsimile, the real one is in a safe. Nobody says where the safe is. That's valuable nonetheless. And there's a gentleman at the back of the church, Andrew Smythe, who one day came in and discovered that that helmet had been nicked.
Oh.
Nick's helmet had been nicked.
Well done. I love what you did there.
And he scoured every shop, every antique shop, and I'm going to say rubbish shop. What are the other sorts of things that have old things in, they're not antiques? I've caught her speechless again. Anyway, all the old second-hand shops, and he found it. The thieves had taken it to a shop, and the shopkeeper hadn't been too fussy about asking where it was from, and he discovered that it was from here. But I mean, this is a very ancient church. You're not a great church goer, are you?
Used to be.
Oh,
Not anymore.
what changed your mind?
I started working with you. You make me work every Sunday.
She calls it work. She makes me do things. She sits to have coffee.
Excuse you? Who has coffee mugs all around their table?
Me?
You.
Oh, the bite a bit. Caught out.
If only you clean them at the end of the day. I guess that's what I'm there for.
A little swirl of water. Just back to this church, though, because it is a very interesting church. It is the church of the castle. And although nobody can quite determine when it was built, its official date is 1140. But many people believe that because it was the church of the castle, that it actually was built many years before. And it has many luminaries buried under the floors here in the vaults, including Sir Nick
That's very interesting.
and his sons.
Wow.
But you know, Pelham House is where they lived, and you actually worked in Pelham House. So what's it like in
It's antique.
there?
The rooms are very nice, but yes, they can do with a bit of doing up. But they are nice.
Yes, a nice
And the
house.
grounds, the garden, absolutely marvelous. One day.
What, you'll drag me into the garden?
No!
Now, I mentioned Tom Paine earlier in the week, and Tom Paine was married here before he left for the Americas. The interesting thing about Tom Paine is that he wrote The Rights of Man, in which he believed that the common man should have a say in the governance of the country. And for that, he was charged with treason. And guess what the punishment was? To be hung, drawn,
And quartered.
Yes, and you've threatened me with that many, many a time.
Me?
Yes, you.
I am not a remember. I don't do those things.
Well, no, it was the ducking stool.
Never divulge secrets.
I'd like to get her into a ducking stool. What?
What?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Anyway, but Tom Paine also coined the phrase the House of Commons. He said there should be an assembly there for the common man, a House of Commons. And he was married right here and lived across the road in a house. He was a customs excise officer when he was here. And a dangerous job that was too in those days. But this is all part of the history of this very ancient and old church. And every time I say ancient and old, I see you glow. You don't have to say it, do you?
You're talking about yourself.
Shut up. I thought you'd get around to it.
Well, I'm only stating the obvious. What do you think? Tell him you won't believe me.
I thought what it would be to be young and beautiful.
Okay.
No?
Well, if you're talking about me, that's a different kettle of fish.
And now we're getting around to your favourite topic, aren't we?
Of course. If you can talk about oysters.
Oh, see? She's been trying to get me to the altar. Told you.
Oh, God. Okay, please move on.
Well, I think we'll move on to another location. And we'll let you enjoy the rest of the day on Mirador television. I'd forgotten that we got that little clip. That is St. Michael's Church in Lewes. It is a very old, ancient church. The records go back to 1140, but many people believe that it was the church of the castle, and probably
was there, built around 1080 to accommodate the Varennes who were resident in the castle at that particular time. The first lord of Lewis. It also is where Tom Paine was married, amongst other things. And from the icon on the wall, you are aware that Sir Nicholas Pelham is buried there. Pelham, a name to be conjured with in Lewis. There's not only Sir Nicholas on the walls of the church, but just up the hill a little bit, there's the pub, the Pelham Arms. And around the back is Pelham House. So they were a very prominent family. And they lived in Pelham House for over 200 years, uninterrupted as a family. And it is a beautiful house. And now it's a funeral parlor. No, it's not. It's a wedding parlor. People get married there, and partly it's kitted out so that they can almost do anything without leaving the building. But why would you want to? The garden is beautiful. The view is beautiful. It's a very historic building. It's a very pleasant building architecturally. But the Nicholas Pelham was a hero. When during the 100 Years' War with France, the French would come over and pillage and sack the coastal towns. Lewis was actually laid to the sword because it attacked Rottingdean. And Rottingdean belonged to the Prior of Lewis, or the Priory of Lewis. And the prior marched off with his soldiers, and it was a ploy, a feint, and he fell for it. He went off to defend Rottingdean, and while he was marching down, and the French, their intelligence was very good. They plotted his route all the way to Rottingdean. They sent the fleet, or at least a couple of ships, up the Ouse to Lewis, with the prime intention of attacking the priory and looting it of all its jewels, because the priory, in keeping with a lot of other religious institutions of the day, was very wealthy indeed. But it is noted that when they attacked the priory, the prior had the foresight to leave behind a couple of hundred English bowmen. And they say that the English bowmen fought valiantly to keep the invader at bay and not let him into the priory so he could get his grubby hands on the goodies. And they succeeded. They kept them. But not to be denied, the French then put Lewis to the sword and sacked it. And it was, well, dear old Lewis was burned. And a few killings and a little looting took place. So that is St. Michael's Church. The young lady who is co-presenting there is one of the things that Mirador is very proud of. Is it has uncovered some native Lewis talent. Lalla Daniels, whom you've seen in the last little while, who did the food and drink show. It's from Lewis. Annie Verrill from Lewis, and they were in my opinion, and it's a professional one, it's a good one, is that they are probably better than some of the people that appear on television. It's just because of the peculiar system that results from our democratic way of life. As if you don't get in on the proper channels, they never even see you, let alone hire you. And it's a pity because a lot of talent is washed away down the ooze. And he was very spirited, and we were able to do the two-handed presentation of the programs, making people believe that we were at one another's throats all the time. And to this day, she hasn't told, and I haven't told, whether in fact we really were at one another's throats, or whether it was all a play act. So we're going to keep on keeping you wondering. But they were good fun in the days that we made those programs, and it was a pity that lockdown came along and destroyed the whole thing. There you go. The Mirador today is a very different beast to the one it was there, and I rather think that in a couple of years' time it will be a different beast again. It's in a process of development, but certainly we are not letting our standards drop, and it's very gratifying that it's not. I've got things here and I have no idea what they are. Well, it is a Mirador promotional video, which I think I played the other day, but if it's the one that tells you what Mirador is all about, now, since we are limited to what we can say today, and now is as good a time as any to show you.
To Mirador.
Give us back our town. Beer, wine.
So, thank you for joining.
Hey, Ellie, come on, give us a kiss. Come on.
Do admire the hanging gardens of Babylon on the way. They can't even cut that back properly.
Hello. At last I've caught you asleep.
You did hold up a Bible upside down, but you held it up.
Hey there.
It is a massive, massive ball of uselessness. Oh, you can't say that. Why is it my romances all go wrong? Ellie was the first girl. Her mother thought me twee. She sent a big invitation with an RSVP.
It is wonderful to end a day like this, where I am completely sober and articulate, and I'm surrounded by people who cannot put two words together.
You said end the day like this. Isn't this the morning programme or something?
Yes.
Okay. You're ending it already?
Yeah, well, you've been drinking all day.
All day? It's all right then. It is the morning programme, you know.
Well, you will be drinking all day.
Oh, God, after this I will.
We've learned so much on this epic journey. We've learned what makes Lewis Lewis and what it's had to deal with in the past. We've learned... What else did we learn?
I'm Mark Landsman.
Diddle bib.
Pray for me. Goodbye.
Mirador TV. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Well, there you are. Bit of history, if you like, but out of the archives. We probably will show you bits and pieces that we do show you bits and pieces that we've shown you several times. And actually, people say, "Gosh, I'm glad you showed that again because I'd heard about it, but I'd never seen it." So, no reason why sitting on a morning like this, that when we're as stunted, limited as to what we can talk about, except the weather, which is great, and urging you to go to the polls and vote. We can go back in time, I think. Now, this one says all about the kiss. And Rodin's famous statue, the kiss, was actually sculpted by Rodin for a mad American who lived here at the start of the last century. And it stood in a shed after being sculpted for a while, almost forgotten by its owner and everybody else. Then it was dug out and put on display, and a schoolma'am caught sight of it, marched down to the council with her umbrella, shook it at the mayor and the councillors and said, "How dare you show this disgusting statue?" The kiss, of course, being two bodies, naked bodies, entwined in a kiss. And she was so powerful, put the fear of God into them, that they actually then tucked it away again, and it went out of sight for another period of time. Poor old Kiss, famous as it is now, traveling the world, had a very rough start to life. And in Lewis, it was brought back by a committee in which Paul Miles, local worthy, had a lot to do. And went on display. I think it was in the year 2000, in Lewis Town Hall, and had huge numbers of visitors. So, in the end, it triumphed, and all was well. Anyway, let's see. This is all about the kiss. Let's see what it is.
Hey, Ellie, come on, give us a kiss. Come on. First thing in the morning.
Well, my dear, people can always dream. I just wanted to come in here to see if you're boring people again.
No, I would never bore people. I don't
okay,
think.
well, depends who you ask, I guess.
Now, this is sort of a piece of art which, today, with all due respect, it's got a lady's breast showing. But in the early part of the 1900s, the most famous statue in the world, probably, Rodin's The Kiss, was here in Lewis. And it was bought by a mad American. And it was then put on show very briefly before everybody getting upset that it was obscene. And then it was tucked away in a shed.
So I've heard.
Yeah. Have you seen The Kiss? Have you looked at the statue?
If I say no, is that a problem?
Oh, yes, it is.
Then I did.
But the good burghers of Lewis decided that it was obscene. A little old lady, I don't think she was that old actually, she was rather prim. She marched down to the council and said, here, if you're going to show that, I'm going to complain. And they got so frightened is they took it away and put it in the shed.
The council frightened?
Yes.
I would like to ask that lady for her secret.
Yes. Well, actually, it's nudity, but let's not talk about that.
No.
Well, it wouldn't be a pretty sight if I went down.
What
to the
you
council.
do in your own time, that's your problem, okay?
Now, the interesting thing is that there are, taken by Reeves, the local photographer, who have got a wonderful history of Lewis from almost the day that photography was invented. They got shots of the kiss being in the town hall and the troops being fed in the town hall. And somebody has decided that they must put a blanket over the kiss.
Oh dear.
But they mustn't get the troops excited.
Interesting.
Yeah. One of the things that is interesting is that a good friend of ours, Paul Miles, in the year 2000, actually brought the kiss, the actual statue, by this time has become famous, of course, and is on display. Well, it goes on display around the world. But he brought it back, and it was on display in the town hall. Had thousands and thousands of visitors, and as far as I'm concerned, as I'm aware, not one of them complained.
Times have changed, I guess.
Yes, they have. Yeah, well, a naked statue is a naked statue, but I mean, this one really is considered to be a statue of love to beautiful people actually embracing. The trouble is, they're beautiful people. And
Well.
I'm not so sure that it's a pretty sight if I embraced anybody. So don't get your hopes up.
Oh God. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. By the way, did you complain when they finally took the statue away?
Yes, I did.
I'm sure.
I wanted it there for much longer.
I bet you visited the statue a few times.
Oh, I did,
course.
yes.
No surprise.
Yeah, but actually, Annie, this town is known for its eccentricity, and apparently this American really was very eccentric. And when he first commissioned it, and of course Rodin wasn't as well known then as he's become since, so it was a very daring thing for him to do.
Well, he was an American.
Oh dear, oh you made a few friends there.
Yes. Our lovely colleagues. They are two wonderful ladies, so don't stop. Don't stop.
One of the things that we will be doing later in our program is, when I say our program, not the program today, but we are cognizant that the arts plays a very big role in Lewis society. And strangely enough, what we have standing to my right is a very talented pianist. Don't know what to say to that, do you?
Well,
Yeah, I've never been nice to you before.
unless you want something. Could I have a coffee, please? Oh, I'm so sorry. Is it too far away from you? That's what I'm here for, I guess. Who cares about the piano?
Oh dear, there's nothing feminist about this, but it's just age. Yes, these youngsters are all the same. They don't want to get the older man a coffee.
I don't care what you're saying. You called me young, so it's all good.
Well, to me, you are a youngster.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yes, right.
Very good.
Yes.
Okay.
But anyway, not only that, but Annie is also a very talented vocalist, and she eventually is going to host a music program in which she will play the odd piece of music and she will sing. But also, we've got some very talented people around Lewis whom you're going to entertain. I mean, Dandelion Charm, for instance.
Indeed. Very talented.
Yeah.
Very
Out
good
of
music.
Newton Arts. Newton Arts. Do you know where Newton Arts is? That's in Northern Ireland. It shows you how I have flashbacks.
New Haven,
sometimes.
you mean?
That's right. That's what I mean.
Exactly.
I never get anything wrong, do I? No. Right.
You get everything right.
Yes, thank you.
I'm just here to praise you for it.
Oh, yeah. Well, go on. Praise me a bit then.
Okay. Your hat looks good.
There's nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. But we will be covering a number of things over the weeks, because we do have a very rich society here. But then we will be looking at American cousins, because we do go to America later in the day, our good friend Melissa Conti, and the team over there, Suzanne Mouchot and Mark Landsman, because things are happening in the United States which are of interest to us, and there are things happening in Lewis which are of interest to them. So it's a nice mix, and I think you'll find it interesting. What do you think?
Everything we do is interesting, especially if you have me in it.
Oh well, I can leave her at home. All right, nice to be with you this morning. We'll see you later in the day. Until then, toodle pip.
Goodbye.
Well, that was a coup, and it just seems impossible that it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, that the kiss was in the town hall. But actually, 125 years ago, and it was first chipped away here in Lewis and banned by the town council. So Rodin's The Kiss, and you could be abroad and walk into an art gallery or whatever, and suddenly there you'll find The Kiss, because it is sent on loan around I think it's in the Tate in London. It's sent on loan around the world because it is so popular. And it really does test everybody's engineering skill to move it from point A to point B, but quite often install it because it's a hell of a weight in town halls or exhibition centers or wherever it happens to be shown. So the Kiss has had quite a remarkable effect, not only on Lewis, but all sorts of other host towns, host cities, host communities around the world. Just shows when we say that Lewis has had a huge effect, particularly on the Americas, but on all sorts of other places. It is very true. It is very true. I mean, not least of which is it was our man, Tom, who one way or another gifted the colonies to the colonists and lost England a chunk of real estate over the water. I think it would have been inevitable anyway. Governing at a distance like that is very difficult and not really in keeping with the way modern things are done. But anyway, that's The Kiss. Rodin's The Kiss was here in Lewis. It is now a couple of minutes to 9 o'clock. Is that right? Yes, 9 o'clock. John Henty is due around about 10. So I think what we might do is we might take a little break and have a cup of coffee before coming back, taking another look at one or two things, and then carrying on to the time that John comes strolling in, gentleman's hours. Okie dokie. So let us be gentlemen. We'll keep gentleman's hours. And what we'll do is we'll say, just temporarily, that is, just for a moment, toodle pip, and see you in 5, as they were, or possibly 10, or no, not much more than that. Okay. Here we go.